We're going to go a new flavor now, or a different flavor. Christi came up with this one, Pecan Pie Ice Cream. And I'll hand out the recipe for you. For those of you watching, it's at the website, emerythompson.com, along with what will now be 455 videos. All different, all how to make different flavors. All featuring me with a side video of Jeff. Or we're all there. Okay, so this is going to be the dairy blend, Lockhead vanilla, whole pecan pie from a bakery. Here in Florida we have Publix supermarkets. They do great baking, so I picked up a pie there last night. And candied pecans. Who says pecans and who says pecans? How many say pecans? Okay, who says pecans? All right, you're right. Okay, so that's right. The hoity-toity say pecans. So it's a really simple flavor. You can put it together in just a couple minutes. Christi's measuring out the mix. If you can look over here on the camera, we have the pecan pie ready to be thrown into the machine. We're going to throw the whole pie right into the machine. And that's going to just give it fantastic flavor. There you go. That's a pie.
He's like the P.T. Barnum ice cream.
And vanilla, of course.
You want to add the mix while I chop the
Yes.
pecans?
Check that the gate's closed, like Christi showed you before in a video. Hold it up here. If you rest it on the lip down like this, you're going to... Hey, Christi.
What?
The gate's open.
Yeah. It was draining. You said you checked it.
Supposed to close it.
You said
there you go.
checked it.
You got proof. That's one of those, it's a parent thing. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so we'll just add a little bit more of that mix, and we'll be good to go on that.
Well, once again, due to shortages, it's somewhat of a pecan pie. It's a pecan loaf. It's still crust and pie filling, just a loaf.
Just a different shape.
Just a different shape. Here, you can have that.
Thank you.
All right, so now that Steve closed the gate, we can go ahead and we are going to add the vanilla. Probably not going to add all of these. Try to get to where. All right, let's see how well I do on this. Any volunteers? I don't even know if I'm going to get it well. We will find out.
Any questions? No? Okay, the next segment we're going to do is called Questions Answered. So I hope we're just not sitting up there, like on CNN talking to ourselves and telling us how great we are. So please come up with some questions.
Some sorbet or...
Yes, right after lunch we're going to make a sorbet. Yeah.
So if you're going to make these tropical fruit flavor, I know a lot of people using extract, like the flavoring stuff in there. How do you use some real fruits or are you using flavoring stuff in there?
I'm using both. I want the real fruit in there. And I always tell people I use fresh frozen fruit. You go to the supermarket, where Jeff taught me to teach to buy my ingredients. Instead of buying cans and cans of gloppy strawberries and a heavy corn syrup with red dye 40, I go to the supermarket, there's a bag, again, the stores down here are called Publix. I buy the store brand, bring it home, thaw it, pour it right in the machine. Strawberries are kind of weak, so I'm going to bolster it with a Weber extract or iRice, I think, also makes extracts, but Weber specializes in it. And so I'm going to have the flavor and the freshness from the strawberries, but the extract is going to give it a little bolster. Especially true with the cantaloupe, honeydew, and watermelon. An executive chef will tell you that doing anything with melons in cooking is a beast, because they're delicious when you eat a watermelon, but if you put it into something like watermelon Italian ice, there's just no flavor. It's all water. So we need to give it a little extra kick. Yeah. But I'm not doing it the old way, which was all chemicals. Now it's naturally made very good extracts.
It looks pretty.
Okay. And we're running.
Yep, so once again we added sugar with the pecans because they're candied, and a pecan pie, plus the dairy mix have sugar, so you're looking at a little bit longer freeze time. So I've seen like a lot of people ask, what can they sell in the off season or when you live up north when it's really cold? So some customers have come up with like chocolate bombs or candied apples. Well, everybody's heard of an ice cream pie, right? Where you buy, the pre-made pie crusts. Here is a fantastic option. These are the mini pie crusts made by Keebler. You pick 6 up for $2. You can put the pecan pie ice cream in these, sprinkle a little bit of, leftover candied pecans on top, and you could sell these for $3 a piece or more, just depending. Because I would much rather buy this than a whole pecan pie itself, a pecan pie ice cream. I'd buy one of these. It's a cute and great option for an off-season sell, for holidays, gatherings. Might want to take it home to their mom or their dad who can't have a whole big one, so you can have them individually. Unfortunately, it only comes with 2, but it is a cute little great top, so it's a great option. So I have 6. Who's the 6 that wants these? You? Okay, so we got 1. Anybody allergic to pecans or anything of that sort? So that's another thing, is whenever you're working with nuts, walnuts, pecans, or peanuts of any kind, always leave that for your last flavor of the day because of a peanut allergy. So the health department, every county and city is different, but this one is the same for every county. Make sure you strip down your machine from top to bottom, and then some cities and counties have different regulations how to do it, so you'd have to check with them on the regulations, but make sure you strip it down completely. And I would suggest doing it always last flavor, because that way you don't make your peanut butter ice cream and then now you've got to do strawberry, vanilla. Now you got to strip the whole machine apart, clean it just to make those. Yes?
Under 2 or 3.
I can't hear you.
I know it's hard to hear. I think children under 2 or 3 are allergic to honey, or you're not supposed to give them honey. Right?
Under 2, it's a honey thing. I think it's just straight honey, though. I don't think I think. I'm not positive. I'm not, a medical doctor. Any questions? Yes.
So you put a pie in the loaf of bread, you said? So
Yeah, it's a pecan pie, just loaf-like.
It's okay to put any type of cake and stuff like that. Birthday
Oh,
cake
yes,
or chocolate
definitely,
cake.
definitely.
So we okay with the machine putting it in?
Yep, it definitely is. The one thing I did find out about cake is freeze it first. If you freeze it first and then you want to put it into a Ninja, or if you try to push it in there like I just did with a cake, because it's so fluffy, it kind of likes to ball up and stick. When your ice cream comes out, you wind up with like a ball of cake. Always freeze it first, yes.
So do you need a special license to make a homemade ice cream in your store?
I don't know any of that. That's a Jeff question. He's the one that has the store.
Also, another question is that I know some ice cream shop, they actually make their remix, like they
Yes.
try the milk. So do you need a special license for that too? For example, like Jersey area, Philadelphia area, or New York City area?
You definitely do. And I would my opinion, just leave that to the pros. That's a whole nother law regulation, and he can actually go in more depth than I can.
If you're going to make your own mix, you're going to be dealing with the Food and Drug Administration. They are going to take up space in your store and live with you. You're going to have to buy a pasteurizer for at least $10,000. It's going to have a recording timer on it so that it says the rotation. It's a rotating dial. Nothing's impossible in the United States of America. Making your own mix is as close to make impossible as you can get. There was a big rush of young people making their own mix about 8 years ago, and they all died out. They couldn't be competitive because the first question I always ask them is, milk, cream is sold in a little half-pint container. Today you need 50 gallons to make your ice cream. Where are you going to get it? You can't get it. They can make more money selling in half pints than they can selling it to you in 50 gallons. So that's number one is the ingredients. Number two is they're scientists and we're not. Did you know that there's 5 different types of cows that produce milk? Every one of them has a different fat content. The fat content also changes from winter to summer. And you have to now adapt all those changes. Where did the cream come from? What kind of cow? What time of year is this? Otherwise, people are going to say about your store, oh, you know, last summer I had the best vanilla ice cream in his store, but here it is December, and it's just so off it doesn't taste the same. That's what dairy scientists do, taking the same fresh ingredients from a cow, but they have a knowledge base that we never will. As far as cost, it's going to be 3/4 to double of what it will cost you to get from the dairy, because they're doing it 10,000 gallons at a clip, and you're 10,000 gallons, and you're doing 10 gallons. Economies of scale of whenever you're doing anything that small or that large are radically different. That's why Breyers can sell a half gallon of ice cream for $1.49, and we'd be getting about $23 for a half gallon. It's a whole different ball game. So yes, can it be done? Yes. Has it been successful? You name any business in the world, and I will, or in the United States, and I'll find you 10 people who are successful at it. But I'll also find you 10,000 who are not. It's a very difficult thing. The other way of looking at it, I don't know if it's a good analogy, but it works for me because I've never seen a wheat farm. But if I was a baker and I wanted to make my own flour, would I have a wheat farm out back? And would I have a grist mill, whatever the hell that is, and where I'm grinding the wheat and then making the flour? No, I'm a bakery. I go out and buy the best King Arthur brand flour that I can buy on earth, and that's where the creativity starts. It's not in the flour. Flour's flour. It's in what I do with that flour. So yes, you can make your own mix, but I can save you a lot of time and effort and say it's not going to be successful. And dealing with anything with the government is always less than successful. And they literally will be in your store every week checking your records, and if they're off by a bit, if you were supposed to do it for 45 minutes and you did it for 43, they'll shut you down. I mean, it's awful.
Buy a dairy.
I'm sorry, what?
We don't need a license to make ice cream if we buy the dairy.
You need a license to be in business.
Yeah.
Whether you're Emery Thompson manufacturing machines or selling pizzas or baked goods, you need a license. Usually it's called a frozen dessert manufacturer's license, and you go to your local town. Oh, you're Manhattan. Forget everything. Just open up the store. I'm serious. I've been through this. Just open up the store. It'll be 10 years before they fine you, and then the old beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission kicks in. There are 2 health inspectors in New York City to cover all 5 boroughs, and they only leave their office if someone dies at McDonald's. So don't even call them. Just open the doors. Do everything the right way. Keep it clean. Get the right sanitary sink. Everything else, but don't talk to them. And don't tell them I said you so. Said so.
In New York, they make alcohol ice cream just like Jeff. Do you need a special license for that? Or
Called what?
They put
doing
alcohol
alcohol?
in their ice cream? Yeah.
Oh, Christi's ready. We'll get back to it. See how fast that was? I only got a third of the way through my story and she's already finished.
Yeah. It's always so pretty to see coming out.
You just can't get any fresher than that. The stuff in the supermarket was made in April to sell to you in October.
Can you get me another pan to put under there?
Mm-hmm.
Please? Still coming. All right. I'm gonna call it quits.
All right.
Ready, set, go. All right. So let's put it in.
So, Mr. Jeff,
Now there's an instant pie.
Isn't that the cutest little thing you've ever
you
seen?
are the science.
And there you have it. A little mini pecan ice cream pie. Super cute. Alrighty. You can go ahead now with your story.
For the Q&A that I should know about?
No.
Okay. I have.
I only have 6,
Okay, good.
and the 2 in the back already called 2. Yes. Okay, so there's only 3 left.
I'm fine with take mine.
It's a really great idea, you know, and a lot of customers I see do the huge ice cream pies, and those are great too. But you'd have to sell those for about 15 to 25. Yes.
Is it better to use fresh fruit or frozen fruit?
If it's in season, use fresh. If it's not in season, use frozen, because when they do frozen fruits, it's the same consistency, flavor, no matter what, because it's picked when it was fresh. So I would say either or. And it's also great to advertise, on your store if you get fresh blueberries, from the local blueberry farm, partner up with the blueberry farm, maybe set up down there, or he'll put a sign up about blueberries used for the ice cream.
But as far as throwing in the machine, is it kind of like the M&Ms where you freeze them and then put them in?
If
Or
you're
is it-
using fresh fruit, you don't have to freeze it first. It will pretty much pulverize them. If you're using frozen, I like to put them in a Ninja first because they're going to stay frozen. If you have whole chunks of strawberries that's frozen in a bag and they go in there frozen, then they're going to get frozen again. They're going to pretty much almost come out in big chunks of strawberries, and those aren't fun to bite into.
I like to do it by thawing everything. Anything to do with fruit, I thawed, and then the machine itself is going to puree it like the Ninja. And as I mentioned before, that's my fruit flavor. If you were blindfolded and you tasted it, you'd say, yeah, that's strawberry, but you take the blindfold off and you go, well, where are the chunks? So I take a second bag of thawed strawberries and just throw them into the ice cream as it's coming out. Now I have my fruit flavor. Every particle of dairy has a particle of strawberry next to it because I put it in the machine. And then I have my pieces that I can see. So that works out well. If you're working with something like blueberries, they work very well if you put them into a container like this and add a little sugar and a little water and shake it up and put it in the refrigerator overnight. And that's called sugaring the fruit. There's moisture in those little blueberries. We don't want to turn into rocks, but we also don't want to puree them. So by letting it sit overnight in sugar water, they'll absorb the sugar and now they won't turn into marbles. If you've had someone make homemade ice cream on an old hand crank machine, this is what my grandfather started with. He was using this hand crank machine. If you're using that, it isn't going to grind up the strawberries as much, but we're doing it this is taking 45 minutes and we're doing a faster process. Oh, they're going to like this one.